Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, DC Comics podcast from the Mailed Fuzz Network. I am Pier, and I'm joined by Connor.
Oh, changing things up a bit there.
Like to keep them on their toes.
Huh? I was zoned out.
You know, I was zoned out.
I tend not to listen to your rambling bits at the start and end.
Why? They're quality bits.
I mean, that's for the audience to decide.
Quality bits. Matt's here too.
Hey, up and away.
And you'll be delighted to know that Connor's at least a little bit sick, so you can all just enjoy that fact.
And you wonder why he zones out.
I don't know, I like to pay attention when I'm being insulted, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, he's so used to it, he has to put it in the background.
He's just numb to it, yeah.
It's just a constant, so I don't really notice it more.
I'm pretty sure I dropped ginger slurs just without even realising I'm doing it. Like, mid-sentence, end of sentence, before the sentence.
Yeah, probably.
Think of a lot of good new ones when I'm on a toilet seat. I don't know what it is, but for some reason when I'm sitting on the toilet seat, my mind just goes to Connor. I don't know, some sort of
Oh, jeez.
correlation there in my head that just connects.
Lovely.
See, quality bits.
Nice to know you're always thinking of me.
I'm a bit loopy. I've had a lot of sleep, so if my usually quality bits degrade into not so quality bits, I'm going to blame it on.
I think the fact that you think the quality bets shows that you have lack of sleep. But that's just me.
Alright, so we talk about comic books here. You might be delighted to know, so we can stop talking about this. So in this week's show, we've got a late week because it's a week 5, as is typical when there's an extra Wednesday in the month. We have Batgirl Annual Issue 1, Titans Annual Issue 1, Justice League of America Issue 3, and we have at least one of the DC Hanna-Barbera team-up specials. Matt did read one of those, so he's going to talk about Booster Gold / Flintstones Special Issue 1. The reason why we're not covering the rest of those, because someone did ask last week if we were covering them or not, is basically, at least for me personally, other than the Flintstones, I've never seen any of the other shows that the other team-ups are involving. So I really don't know what I could offer the conversation for any of those.
No Space Ghost? No Johnny Quest?
Never seen them.
Oh, man.
I was a big fan of Scooby-Doo growing up. I loved Wacky Races. This was more my Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Wow.
But
Same.
yeah.
I just say while we're on that topic, I love that there's a Scooby-Doo team-up book. I think it's a digital first every week.
Oh.
And
Well,
that's just cool.
I made it two issues in the Scooby Apocalypse one, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, no, this isn't that. This is
Yeah.
It rotates through teaming up with DC Universe people, and that's it every week.
I feel like the obvious Batman story to write with Scooby-Doo teaming up is that Batman will go, "There's no real ghost, don't be silly," and then they all go, "Yeah, we know, every week it turns out to be a person with a mask, but
Joker's just a man in a mask."
We're used to this.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't that, frankly, when they did it.
Well, yeah, I think that was one of the main points of Scooby-Doo, wasn't it? It was about teaching kids that not to believe in everything you read or see or hear.
It's always an old man with an amusement park trying to scare people away.
I mean, when you think about it, it was really about warning children against creepy pedophiles. When you really think about it, these creepy old men try to get close to them with, smoking
Old
mirrors.
Man Withers. It's always Old Man Withers.
Oh dear. All right. Obviously, it's the 5th week, so we're going to have some other stuff at the end. We've got some a fan question or two to talk about, and some movie news that I think we will actually talk about this week. Now, I know some people aren't as against the movies as we are, so got a little bit of shade last week for ripping into the movies.
Wake up, people. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not going to start the fire. I will say that the news this week is a little bit more on the positive side, surprisingly.
Unless you're Connor, who
well,
infuriated me the day this dropped.
Yeah, let's save it. We'll talk about this after the books. We'll do that first. So that's what people are here for. It's the main event. It's not for my bits. It's not for Connor's hair.
Wait, but if it's the main event goes on last.
Not in this show, it doesn't.
You build to it.
You build to it, yeah.
Also, you want to waste the time first and then get
I'm not
to the
sure
books?
Peter's ever been to like a gig or anything, to be honest.
No.
I don't think he realizes you do the support things first and then
Yeah.
you know, then.
Unless you're one of those fans who's like, I'm only here for the opening band, like who I've met a bunch of.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
everywhere.
they're the worst. They're the worst.
The main event, and then the rest of it is an encore. It's the bonus bits.
Yeah, but all the bands I like, the encores, all the songs you want to hear, they save them for last.
That's just
Again, your metaphor is holier than Swiss cheese. That's Pete's anger. Audio listeners, Pete shaking his fist. I miss doing this. I used to do this on 121 all the time to him.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is. Uh-oh. He's going for the air horn. You can't threaten me. We're doing this through screens. Unless you've got my wife in on this, duct tape holds no danger to me.
Dear. Funny enough, that duct tape, I only own that duct tape because it was a prop for a movie. When I was in university, I was making
I could have sworn for a second then you said you only owned it because you needed to tie someone.
No, it is! That's what I'm getting to. It was in the movie.
I thought that was like,
Yeah.
like as a serious thing. I thought that's what you were going to say.
No,
All kidding aside, duct tape's not as good as zip ties. So just next time you know.
I mean, you did the music for it, Cora. You've seen the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where that duct tape's from. And I've kept it around because it's handy. Like, every so often, I need a bit of duct tape. But the reason why I own it is because it was a movie prop.
Duct tape is like an essential thing to life. It just fixes everything.
Yeah.
You know what they say, if you can't duct it, then you shouldn't use it anymore.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I think every awful thing I said in the last 5 minutes has just been completely erased by that sentence.
Well, no, because there's a more blue version of that phrase, but, you know.
Oh, right, okay.
Duck it, F it, but you can't duck it.
We're going to move on to books. We're going before this train wreck gets any worse. So first up this week we have Batgirl Annual Issue 1, which is Hope Larson writing the first. There's 2 stories in this book. There's and they're both about the same length of a normal book. Actually, it was kind of just like getting like 2 issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one's Hope Larson, and I actually didn't match which artist was with which writer. The second story is written by Vita
Ayala.
Ayala. There we go.
The art on the first one is Inaki Miranda.
Inaki Miranda is the first one. The second one is Eleonora Carlini.
Yep.
Because they're the opposite way around the way I've written them down. So that's there we go. So
Way
Batgirl
to
Annual
go.
Issue 1. So the first half of it was the sort of, we'll call it I mean, they're both canon, but the first one is
Setup.
the main story, the one that's setting up plot for future stuff. Not in Batgirl, funnily enough, it's setting up plot for Supergirl. But it is the Batgirl-Supergirl team-up, where they team up to go and break into the prison to try and rescue someone named Gale, because she's psychically speaking out to Supergirl. And after Supergirl runs into Batgirl, she asks for help, and they become the best of friends.
Well, yeah, it's worth noting that she reaches out to her in Kryptonian.
Yes.
So that's what gets Supergirl so invested in breaking into Cadmus and trying to get Batgirl's help.
Yeah. Although I like the idea that if it was in English, she would just ignore it forever. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
care.
what you do.
No,
So-
not interested.
It's like what the Ginger does when he gets insulted by everybody. It just goes to the background.
Exactly. You have to have a filter for these things, and Kara has one for English.
Right. So they break in. They have some fun banter. They encounter a cold-based villain,
Yeah.
Gotta have another one of those.
which I think
Can't have enough.
I think one of them almost like jokingly calls him Frostbite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, why not? I don't think we've had that one yet. I'm actually kind of amazed.
Not yet.
I'm amazed we got to Cold Snap before we got Frostbite.
Well, there might have been one, but, you know,
Yeah.
Golden Age and whatnot. But who knows?
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, so first negative point on this book, there's no Cold Snap, so that's the first point against it, right away.
But there's Frostbite, so...
But there is Frostbite. But he's a lame substitute for
Positives.
Cold Snap. Lots of positives. I like the book a lot, actually. Did you guys enjoy it?
My only thing is it read weird. Like, a lot of the dialogue just felt...
Yeah, I
not
thought that
out
as
of
well.
place, but like choppy. Like it was meant to be banter back and forth, and I just felt like it was very like.
It didn't quite flow, did it?
Yeah, that was my only problem with that first
And it
story
actually made me think. Obviously, this is the Batgirl annual, but this is set up for the Supergirl book,
issue.
and it made me more hopeful for Supergirl because it's like, well, okay, I like the idea of this pairing, but it's just not quite right here. But maybe with a different writer.
But yeah, without the dialogue though, I like the story of them having to team up and Supergirl wanting to go headlong and everything, and Batgirl's like, hey, and then it kind of swaps in parts where Batgirl's more, jumping into it, and Supergirl's like, hold up. So I like the dynamic between the two. It was just the dialogue for me was really choppy.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see what you're saying. It wasn't as flowing, say, as much as like either their solo books are right now.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of nice little fun stuff in there that I did enjoy. A lot of the banter, like just the jokes about Krypton saving people, Karen not wanting to include Batman, just those little things in there that were making me smile kind of.
I especially appreciated that.
I'm sure you did. It was right up your alley, wasn't it?
Karen's like, Batman's gonna come in. We got to do it his way. I don't want to do it his way. So I come to you, and we're going to do it your way, which cracked me up.
There was a delightful sort of nice running gag where Supergirl kept like catching Batgirl, kept picking her up. She like hugs her when she agrees to do the little jailbreak with her.
Yeah.
But at the end, when Kara gets hurt from the psychic person, we see a shot of Batgirl carrying her out, and it was a nice sort of symmetric thing at the start of the book, and I really liked that. It was a nice touch. But they seem friendly, which is cool. I like because Kara's not got a lot of close friends yet.
No,
I kind of like the idea that Babs will be that, and we'll have this female world's finest going forward, and we certainly are going to because, in fact, one of my favourite parts of the sort of the banter was probably right at the end when she's like, "So when I'm pursuing this Phantom Zone stuff, can I call you?" And she's like, "My number's already in your phone." It's like, "You hacked my phone? Well, your password was Krypton. I mean."
And I love her suggesting the different versions with number and letter combinations. I thought that was great.
Yeah, because the rest of the conversation is them just like saying things to each other about those numbers replacing the letters. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how you actually say that out loud, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's Hope Larson does. I mean, she benefited from she's the Batgirl writer, right?
Yeah.
So, I thought Barbara's voice was spot on, and Kara's it took a little bit to get used to.
Generally, I'd agree, except the bit where Babs says, use your laser eye thing. It's like, wait, really? She doesn't know heat vision?
I just took that as she's overwhelmed right now because there's stuff going on. I forget the words to things that I know.
Yeah, see, say all the time. That's fair. I do as well, but with her memory, really.
I didn't take it as her forgetting or her not knowing. I took that as her being playful and just, you intentionally say the wrong thing. Like, you intentionally make it sound playful and goofy. Like, to me that was an intentional thing from Babs.
Nah, I didn't get that at all.
Yeah. It didn't bother me as much. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, because I got that she was essentially saying that as a joke, and then Kara, being not used to Earth humour as much, didn't really get the joke and just corrected her.
Yeah, she hangs out with government agents all day. This is the first time really we've seen her with someone around her own age, even though Babs is out of college and whatnot, and Kara's still in high school. She can relate more easily, I think, to Barbara than her parents or the DEO.
Yeah.
They find this Gale woman, they break her out of the cell, and she starts like speaking Kryptonian to Kara, and she wants to go to the Phantom Zone because there's someone there who can fix what's wrong with her. We don't know what that is, but it's made me curious. Why would anyone want to go to the Phantom Zone, and who's she talking about? So lots of good questions there.
Mysteries.
Yeah, and we know that it's going to somehow tie into Emerald Empress in some way in the next arc. I don't know if she's going to be directly. Yeah, I don't know if she's going to be directly involved with these, but I could see it being another Legion member or something in the Phantom Zone or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
There's a good chance they're setting up Mon-El because if he's in the Phantom Zone.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Mon-El, because
and that would go in line with the Supergirl TV show because he's a character there.
Yeah,
And I know they're
but hopefully he's better than the character on the show.
well, yeah. I'm just they've been doing that synergy kind of deal where it's not a direct, like they tried with Green Arrow in the New 52, and it was terrible. This is more manageable, where you're trying to make it more in line with the Danvers and whatnot. So I could see them doing that.
I'll tell you what, they can put Felicity back in the Green Arrow comic for one page, as long as it's just to imitate what Legends of Tomorrow did with her this week. Then I'll be A-okay with that.
I would happily pay for that.
I'd pay a high price for it.
And like they could put like sometimes where like Marvel do every time where it's an important issue, so they put like the dollar premium on.
Yeah.
There's no extra pages. There's just a dollar premium. But I'd pay it just to have that there.
Actually, no. Do you know what I'd do instead? I would buy every single book they release in a month. If they want to do, remember they did the whole variant month with all the movie covers. If every single issue had a second cover where it was her being killed in a different way by different heroes and villains,
that'd be amazing.
The Felicity dies
really
month.
Don't like her. You're making me miss Arrow a little bit, but then I remember that I don't have that much time to get that angry.
Oh, no, it's not worth your time. And don't worry, that wasn't really any spoilers for anything. Technically, yes, Felicity did die on Legends, but it wasn't real Felicity. It was like an alternate timeline thing, and it was a quick joke. It wasn't actually a plot point.
Yeah, if you guys know Legends, then you know that everything's alternate timeline there. So
yeah. So don't worry, you've not had any plot points ruined for you. She just dies very brutally, and it was really satisfying. So that was the first Batgirl story. So obviously it's essentially 2 issues we get to talk about, because that was
real quick, the art. I really enjoyed the art in this first half.
Me too.
The motion and the expressions, and just that scene Pete hinted at a little where Kara hugs her, and just there's energy in that page, and I really enjoyed that.
The art definitely flows better than the dialogue.
I think my only complaint with the art, and it's not so much a complaint, it's just that maybe I'm just spoiled by the regular Batgirl and Supergirl books, is that I don't think the facial expressions are quite as, or maybe expressions maybe isn't the right word, because the expressions are not bad. It's just the overall kind of look of the faces, it feels a bit stiffer to me than the regular artists, and that was kind of sticking out to me a little bit. But otherwise, it was enjoyable stuff. I think that kind of, basically the second story and then the Titans annual, I kind of have a similar opinion on the art in all of them, where I think they're all good, but none of them blow me out the water. None of them kind of wow me necessarily, but they're all solid. That's kind of how I'd describe them all. So the second story is Batgirl trying to make time for her friend Alyssa. She's trying to track down this big thug, but she keeps having to rearrange her dates with Alyssa that she wants to catch up with, and she keeps putting her back. She eventually says, "No, I'm doing this tonight. I'm being a friend." And then, of course, Frankie calls her midway through the dinner and is like, yeah, we've tracked him down, and he might do this tonight. He's probably going to do this tonight. You're probably going to have to go. And Alyssa stubbornly comes along. She's like, no, you're not leaving my side. I'm going with you. So she has to handle a situation with a bad guy without running off and getting in costume.
Yeah. As Barbara Gordon, not Batgirl.
Yeah. And it ends with that nice moment where she sneaks Alyssa onto the police station roof and turns on the bat signal. Which I like the ending, right? But it makes me immediately wonder, does Batman show up later? Is he going to show up and then he's just going to see Babs and be like,
He just angrily shuts it off, like when you leave a light on and your dad's like, why is this on?
It stuck out to me because she mentioned something like, oh yeah, my dad will be pissed at me, but hey, I'll get away with it. I'm like, yeah, but he's not the one who's going to show up in 5 minutes be like, what's wrong, Jim?
What's the Joker done now?
And
I wasn't a big fan of the story.
Not a big fan?
No, it felt like New 52 Batgirl. And the villain was just the way that he spoke.
The villain's completely forgettable. I didn't give a shit about the villain.
Yeah, I mean, there was some nice stuff in there, like with her trying to balance, but it was like a sitcom episode where the dude has 2 dates. And they have the same restaurant. So
I think I don't have a problem with that though, because it is the second story in and out. To me, I was like, let's have a fun comedy little story where she's doing this and it's focusing on something else.
I just from where Batgirl's been since Rebirth, I didn't want to be reminded of her taking down people with QR codes in that era. of Batgirl, and this felt more in line with that than Beyond Burnside. Which I really
Well,
enjoyed.
like it says, this is before Batgirl
Yeah.
issue one.
It does.
Right?
It says
So
I
that.
know.
Yeah, it says that at the start. It says it's
Yeah.
set before
this is before she's rediscovered who she is, and we actually
Yeah,
got our
that's
proper
what I'm
Batgirl
saying.
series. And
I didn't
I
want to be
agree, it's-
reminded.
yeah, I'm the same. I kind of like didn't really enjoy it that much because of that. It's like, well, this isn't the Batgirl that we've been reading for the last coming up on a year.
Yeah, it didn't do anything to bother me though. Like, I mean, I agree the villain is like forgettable, nothing. Like, he's just a tool for the plot. He's just the menace that's there. So
I kind of felt that way about most of the story, though. It's just forgettable. It's fine, but it doesn't do anything to excite me.
Yeah, but that feels like a weird complaint to me for a second story in an annual or whatever.
But I'm not judging it on it being a second story, Daniel. It's the same length as the first story. It's equal.
Yeah, if this was
It's
a single
this is
issue-
a story.
no, but
Like a breather
yeah,
issue?
But what I mean is though is I often feel this. Like I feel like most stories and like later on in an annual feel like this. Like most of
Yeah,
them
and
feel
I
like
think you should
standalone
judge
things.
them the same, and they should be judged in the same way. It's like they should be better. Like there's no just because they're an annual that shouldn't excuse them.
No, I'm not
should-
saying I'm not saying it should excuse them though, but I feel like you're saying it feels forgettable because it's not part of the main story. It's this little side thing. I don't think that's necessarily a problem though.
But I think it can be enjoyable, and I remember it because it's fun, and I enjoyed reading it. This is just it was fine. It was forgettable in the sense that it's not that it doesn't matter. It's just that it wasn't particularly enjoyable to read. It didn't do anything that made me interested in it.
Well, I disagree with that because I did enjoy reading it. I thought it was fun. I liked her back and forth. I liked the banter. I liked the Lois and Clark style trying to duck away, but then her stubbornly saying, "No, I'm coming with you." I thought it was a fun little friendship story.
Fair enough.
All right, okay.
I had nothing to add. Like it was fine, but it wasn't. It felt like a chore to read. So
Oh, I disagree with that.
yeah,
Chore
it's
to
like,
read.
I don't care. So, but it was fine. Like you said, it's an annual. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm glad it's not a breather issue in between.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
good arcs.
All right, well, you two are a pair of negative Nancy's on that issue. Let's see if you fare better with Titans Annual Issue 1 with Dan Abnett writing and Minkyu Jung on art. This was all one big story. This was 4 members of the Titans, sort of with 4 of their mentors, as it were, 4 of their sort of father/mother figures. They all wake up in a mysterious place. They're trapped. They don't know why they're here. Eventually, like weird, like fake Metallo attacks them, fake parademons attack them. They're trying to figure out why they're here. We still don't really know by the end of this issue actually why.
Yeah.
But it turns into an issue where there's kind of conflict because Batman isn't sure if like they're all real. Like he thinks this could all be a simulation just for him, so he's not ready to trust everyone. But it really comes down to the sort of I guess kind of awkward parent like drama between them.
Well, yeah, because you get people that get along great, like Barry and Wally,
Yeah.
and they're cracking jokes the whole time, and you get their dynamic, and then you get Garth and Aquaman, and
It's very regal, very, very strict
Yeah.
and militant. You have Donna and Wonder Woman who are kind of just awkward because Wonder Woman is kind of ignoring her. And then you have Batman and Nightwing, which is its whole own kind of worms. That,
well, yeah. That's the legit father-son relationship, though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Dick and Bruce have the same relationship me and my dad have, where deep down we love each other, but sometimes we get on each other's nerves. Just let me do it my way. All right, take a step back. I'm an adult type deal. And I definitely relate to that.
I think in general you hit on the core of this issue though, that I'm an adult, let me do it my way, whereas they still view them as kids.
Yeah, except Barry, which is the one notable
Except
thing,
Barry,
because Barry keeps apologising to Wally, because one of them, I think it's Aquaman, like refers to Wally as, "Oh, take your protege, Flash, take your lesser version," and
But that's what Barry's always treated Wally like a partner, and I think in Flash that's what we get with new Wally, is he's treating him more like a sidekick because he needs guidance, whereas with Wally they've been partners so long, it almost is like Batman and Nightwing. But it's much more warm, if you will.
Oh yeah. Do you know what I like about the Batman stuff in this is that he's very like untrustworthy of them because he's not sure if they're actually them. Even Dick, because obviously he trusts Dick in real life, but
Right.
he isn't sure if it actually is Dick. So he's being very abrasive even with him. But I like that as much as he's being a dick throughout in a sense, and he's the one who kind of is ready to charge on Donna, and we'll talk about that in a moment because Donna probably benefits the most out of this issue.
Yeah.
At the end of the issue, when everyone's back to where they're meant to be and they realise everything's been real, there's a moment where Nightwing and Batman are together away from the group, and Batman says, "Take care of Donna." And it's like, as much as he's a dick and he's cold about things, the heart's still in there, and it's just it was kind of heartwarming at the end when he said that to him. But yeah, so the other big conflict that comes up is that when they all start kind of fighting with each other, the Titans like, yeah, but we're actually all friends. Can you really say that about your league? Like really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a really great double set of panels because it was like the four of them, and then it was the four of the others like lined up in the same sort of layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Because that's really how they came together originally. Was the Justice League had teamed up and kind of left them to be amongst themselves, and they went on an adventure. So they kind of bonded over it.
You make it sound like the Goonies, Matt.
Oh, kind of. I mean, that's what the Teen Titans Year One story kind of is, and they all can't figure out Aqualad because he can't. It's his first time out of the water, and so he starts, drying out, and he's not acting normal, and he's like the weird sick kid. So, I like that. I like that these Titans team is so different from the Justice League.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit of a criticism on the New 52 in general. With you're not friends, and it's like, yeah, you never did that bonding stuff, and it feels like maybe this is a step towards making them, because they'll realize that they're not, and it'll be something to explore going on in Rebirth.
Which gives it like weight to us as readers, because not only is it just kind of enjoyable because it's just fun and like character dynamics and all that, but it has that extra meta layer where that's something we criticised about New 52 is that they weren't really friends, and they get to poke at that themselves and the other characters, and we're like, yeah, they're right, you aren't friends. So hopefully we see some stuff come from that. But no, as much as I did enjoy the Batgirl annual more than you guys did, I probably enjoyed this one a bit more. Felt a bit tighter. It was all the same writers, the main series. It's also setting up a future story because it teases. Because we find out the person who's put them all here's the key, and he's working for someone else who we don't get to see.
Interdimensional.
It didn't feel like it was like specifically the Rebirth stuff though.
No. I feel like it might be Trigon.
Yeah.
Just because it's interdimensional, but not in the same way that Oz and Manhattan maybe are. So
that would make sense.
Yeah, because he's fearful when the key goes back and he gets pulled through that door at the end. He's fearful about facing this guy. So
said, it'd be weird to have a Trigon story without Raven around.
Yeah, but
she's in the Teen Titans, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're dealing with this timey-wimey stuff in the missing years, who knows what's going on? Because Trigon, when I think Teen Titans, I think Deathstroke and I think Trigon. So,
that's true.
And we're getting a Deathstroke story later, in the months to come. So
I could see it. Who knows? Maybe this will somehow end up working into the Lazarus stuff. The contract.
Yeah, it could do.
Maybe it'll somehow...
Interdimensional Deathstroke might be the scariest thing ever.
That'd be cool as shit.
Well, we only get some Speed Force in that crossover. Maybe he's like spend some time. Spend some time in there, threatening people. Also,
the Key. He's a Justice League villain I never really got into. So that was from a time I don't think I read that story.
I thought
that was weird.
I'd heard of him, but it was the Key. Yeah, I vaguely remember this guy, but like I don't really know anything about him.
Yeah. So there's a bit of exposition about him, and I was just like, okay, he can open anything.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, he hangs out with Cold Snap. He's at the same sort of what I don't know. Call it the J-list villain bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems a bit generous for Cold Snap.
Oh, right. V-list. He's V-list.
That's closer.
Cold Snap's on the V. I don't want to know who's on the Z.
Watch a Marvel movie. So
Yeah, that's not fair.
that was a bit harsh. They're not that bad.
That was.
It was a softball, Matt. I had to hit it.
I know.
It was so easy. Especially since a lot
I'll
of
give
those.
you-
It's just because a lot of those villains are
Right.
actually better in the books. Like Malekith, for example, is a much better character in Thor the books
Yeah.
than he is.
The only one I would give you is Corey Stoll in Ant-Man because I can't even remember his
Oh
character's name.
yeah. Well,
And I really enjoyed that movie.
Yellow Jacket.
So-
I remember his villain name. But
Yeah, but
yeah, he was terrible. He was just.
character's name.
He's a villain because he's a villain.
He's a villain.
I kind of feel that way even going back to like the first Iron Man movie. It's like
Yeah,
it was
but-
fine at the time because it wasn't formulaic, but now looking
Yeah,
at it,
but
it's like
Obi-
they're all the same.
But that's comics translated right there. Obi's always that's his role to be the Ironmonger.
But
You know-
at least with him though, they tried to like play it as if he's not. Like the first scene we see Corey Stoll and Ant-Man, it's like, maybe not the first scene, but he's clearly kind of slimy. And then the second scene we see him, he's in a bathroom and he kills a dude like right there and then.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, I guess he's evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause
So that's the one I'll give you. The rest of them we could argue over throughout, but that one definitely. Oh,
I'm
he's thinking.
trying to think of another one that I just adamantly dislike.
Guardians.
No, Ronan's pretty dope.
I know, I
He's one of my
think-
favorites.
Is it Whiplash from Iron Man 2? I think he might be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, that whole movie is though.
Yeah, true.
If you guys,
Oh no, wait, hold on a minute. Sam Rockwell is glorious every second of screen time he has. That's not.
that's true.
That's
true.
not. Right, we off
so
track
is-
here.
So is Black Widow. But I digress.
Right. Back to Titans. So let's talk about Donna, because Donna had probably the biggest thing, because they solidified her backstory for Rebirth in this issue.
Finally.
And I actually really liked it. I liked the whole, because obviously Wonder Woman's acting really cold. She doesn't really want to talk to her. She's being distant. Donna feels alienated because of it. But I actually like when Batman's like, right, okay, we got these goggles off the parademons. Let's see. Wait, one of these life forms isn't organic. It's not human like us. Although I'm not sure how that works with Wonder Woman given her origin. But whatever. I'll let it go.
Yeah.
But he's like, it's her. It's Troy. Get her. And then I like that Wonder Woman's the one who steps in, even though obviously she would because she knows, but the fact that she's been cold to her all
Right.
issue, her actually stepping in front and like to protect her felt kind of like, yes, she's, right thing.
Yeah.
Go on, Diana. So Diana clears up some of her own lies. If you see what I did there.
Yeah.
So she explains that Donna was made of clay magically and was designed to kill her. She was designed to be an evil version of Wonder Woman to take her out, but they managed to stop that from happening, and they gave her a new set of memories and personality to sort of make her become whoever she wants to be. And this is who she is. So Donna's a
The
lot
way
like
that
the
you said
Stars.
that, it sounded like an Amazonian Terminator
Yeah.
designed to kill.
It's kind of what she was, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, more like the liquid metal because she's made out of clay. They really should,
Yeah.
really should bring that more into it. Maybe they can make her morph or something like Clayface. She could be like a Clayface kind of more advanced version of him. I'm just
Isn't
talking
one
nonsense.
Clayface enough for you?
You're just throwing it out there.
Like I say, I'm
See
loopy.
what sticks.
I'm tired. I'm loopy. I'm saying nonsense things. If you want me to shut up, say something more reasonable.
Shut up.
You
Well,
shut
that was
up.
more reasonable.
You shut up. Attention, mice.
And also, I don't know what you said with the art. Like you weren't, you thought it was worse than the regular.
Oh no! I didn't say it was worse than the regular. That's not what I said.
I thought you were saying that with the bag. Like you liked it, but like you said, it was true for all the annuals that you like it, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
no, that was a
as good as-
separate. That was a separate point. I made that point about Batgirl, and then I said I would describe both the annuals, well, all three stories, as good but not like mind blowing or unremarkable.
Right.
So I think it's good. Is it better than Brett Booth? Yes, it is. But like it wasn't wowing me
Yeah.
either. Like it was solid. It was dependable.
Yeah. That's fair.
Try to trap me in there.
I'm just checking. Just checking you didn't prefer Booth over this, because then we'd have had to have some sort of argument.
Well, to be fair, Booth is better at least one thing than this artist is, and that's the sort of the action, emotion-y kind of sense that. That's the one thing Booth is good at. He's good at the action.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at it, but I still think it was better in this.
All right.
I don't know, like that page where Diana puts the shield up and blocks Metallo from crushing the others. I thought that looked fantastic.
There was good stuff there. There was just nothing that like stood out to me as like a, because on most normal weeks, like you'll read, typically it'll be Wonder Woman or it'll be something that typically has the good art, and there'll be those panels that just stick out as being, oh man, this is gorgeous, this book. And I just felt like none of the books this week did that to me, where I was like, oh man, this is taking my breath away.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But it was fine. It wasn't like off-putting. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was solid. But yeah, that was it. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, we hit on everything.
Cool. There you go. That's Titans Annual issue 1. That'll take us on to Justice League of America issue 3. Steve Orlando writing, and oh god, Diogenes. Diogenes.
Uh-huh.
Are you? Do you know that? Or are you just sort of making a?
I've heard it said before.
Sure, cool, right, excellent. Well, we've got an informed mind. Diogenes Neves on the art. Do you know what? They've thrown me a lot of weirder names today. I've really struggled with some of these artists today.
So, what's his name off art on this already?
Ivan Reis.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. It's double shipping though. It could just be swapping like some of the other books.
That's true.
Because I mean, some of them have done really well at Batman, where they've kept them to full arcs before swapping, but some of them haven't. Some of them have been.
Yeah, that's true.
So it could just be that. But yeah, so this is the third issue. The extremists and that have taken over this country. During this issue, they take over more around it. They get other countries around the border. I think Kravia is the one they're in. They sort of convince the neighbours to sort of join this pact. The Justice League...
Convince or threaten? More like threaten.
Fake news. They convince the others around them. The Justice League, or I should say the JLA specifically, sort of like try and help some of the freedom fighters that are kicking around, and they each sort of split up and attack different sort of the henchmen that we've seen in the group to try and weaken the ranks. But when they get there at the end to the main man, he's just kind of like, "Nah, I've got like 5 more countries. You're sure you've won a couple of street battles, but we are Legion."
You threw me off there a second because you said they got to the main man, and I thought, wait, they got to Lobo.
Oh yeah, okay. That was a poor phrase to use when Lobo was
Yeah.
in the book. Yeah, I'm talking about Havoc.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what have I missed in this?
It's kind of like Eisenhower's domino theory in work, like you have to stop the one before it spreads to the others, or they'll all fall like dominoes.
Do you know what? I didn't intentionally mean to use that phrase. I think it's maybe a subconscious thing where because I read the main man a couple of times in the issue that I had it in my head, so I used that as a natural phrase to just mean the head honcho. This was kind of consistent with the last couple, and by that I mean it was like okay.
They need to fix this if they want me to keep reading it, because I have hope for this team. I'm over the extremists. I'm over them getting involved.
Matt, to be fair,
in other countries.
Saying you're over them implies that we were ever on board with them, and I don't think we were.
At the beginning I was, because I wanted to see how this was going to play against Batman and this team of new heroes, right? Like
it's because
do
you know the problem is they're not actually giving them time to. You could keep this plot right, but actually have them debate in between things. It feels like most of the issues are them just fighting the villains. There's very little like downtime where they're actually discussing what to do,
right?
Or playing off each other or anything like that. So the whole like dynamic that sounds interesting from this wacky team of like misfits hasn't really been a benefit yet, because I've not really been utilising it. It's been mostly just there's villains, let's go fight them.
Yeah. And I feel like that's not the best approach, like...
It's not, I mean, because it's like, it's not terrible. It's not like, oh my god, this is hard to read. It's not any of that. It's just generic.
No, I don't want to read it. It's not like one of those things where I'm like, oh, yay, you're going back to Kravia. Cool. And I was really into the Rebirth issues that we got. Those were all...
as was I.
Really good. And because they took that time for the characters, and now you're just throwing them in with these kind of disposable villains who don't, outside of Deathbat, I don't know any of their names besides Lord Havoc. You know, like
Yeah, because he's the leader and he's the one that's actually named a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we did like the Rebirth issues for the most part, so we're actually really in. I mean, they get enough credit that I'm going to stick around till the next arc and see how it develops.
Well, that's always I always give something like this an arc to go before I drop
yeah.
it. But
I think here especially because we did like those Rebirthers, and that was Orlando, and that did make those characters seem interesting to us. That like I'm hopefully can turn it around, and it just feels like I don't know. This was such a weird story to start with for the first arc.
Yep.
It's such a weird one to start with. I don't understand the thinking. Start with a smaller story and build. You know, as Batman Begins, you don't do the Joker in the first goddamn issue. You set up Batman, let him feel like Batman first, and then introduce the main threat. Not that this feels like the main threat, but you know what I mean. Same escalation. You want escalation to this.
Yeah, it's such a weird story. If you wanted a Justice League of the people, and now you're fighting, you know, the spread of Lord Havoc's ideals.
Because they're fighting this big alien sort of menace, or alternate universe menace, whatever you want to call them. Like, I feel like at least their first story, if they're the Justice League of the People, should be the sort of threat that maybe Green Arrow would typically try and deal with.
Or like you do like Manchester Black in What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. You know, where they say they're of the people, but they're really not. You know, they don't speak for everybody, but they think about it. Like you do this false populism kind of deal, especially what's going on here right now, and that's like the buzzword. Like you could have done that type of story and then lead to this, which is the natural escalation. What do you do when it's a sovereign country that's doing this? That none of these heroes really have any part of. So yeah, it's just,
I like them going and helping another country that's like, you know, more obscure, not one that most people will know or think about. Like I like that. I like the idea that the heroes are for everyone. They're not just for like the West.
But again, you know what'd been cool? You make it Markovia, and you enter, you know, the Markovian royal family, and they're the ones.
Sure.
Do you know what's kind of weird now that you mention it? Obviously, this is the team dealing with these international incidents like this. The point is that they're not just for the West, like you just said. They're for all these places.
I know exactly where you're going with this sentence.
Exactly.
Continue.
Yeah, this is the Justice League of America book. It's so kind of backwards, isn't it?
Yeah, this should be Justice League International. What they should do is cancel Hitch's book, rename that JLA with a new writer, make it the flagship Justice League book if you want. If you want to have one, you don't necessarily need one, but if you want to have one, do that with that, and then have this be called JLI or.
Even this one just being just Justice League.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would work too. Yeah, that's a good point.
That was it being America, given the topics that it's dealing with.
Well,
it
that's
seems
what I mean.
Kind of strange.
Like, you could have started it here and then build to this, like Pete was saying earlier. Like this being the first story out the gate, and you have a living embodiment of light and an alien on a human team. It's just
or a way that you could have made it interesting is obviously they're calling themselves the Justice League of America. If they dealt with American threats first and then it had been, hang on, we need to represent more than just that. Maybe we should reevaluate and go to it then, rather than just start with that. It just feels strange.
It is really weird. I don't even mind this being the first big threat. It's just an arc where we just got to let the team grow, let them bond. Yeah. Maybe let us understand why Lobo's on the team. That'd be a good thing. Mm-hmm. Like just all these things. Do that in the first arc because
and have Ryan Choi find his legs. You know, because like I feel like he's just there. He really hasn't had a meaningful moment like some of the other ones have.
Yeah, so. Ray gets an okay moment in this one where he tries to like convince the people that he's there to help them, kind of thing. He's like, I'm a human too. Like when he's trying to convince them, and that's an okay little moment. I think it's like I can see where the ideas are coming from. It's just this was such a weird one to start on, and it feels so generic to read because it is just these throwaway, generic looking villains, and like I'm just not invested in what's going on. It's a shame, but hopefully they can turn things around with the next arc and actually give us some team building. That'd be lovely. Slow down the pace. Slow down the pace. Alright, there you go, that's JLA. So, one last book that Matt himself is going to tell us about is Booster Gold Flintstones Special Issue 1. which is written by Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti, and Mark Russell, and then art is by Pier, Brito, and Rick Leonardi. So I believe there's at least 2 stories in there, given the way that...
Didn't Palmiotti and Connor just do the backup with the Jetsons?
Yeah, they did the backup for the Jetsons, which sets up a Jetsons series, which is probably coming down the line.
But that's fair. But hey, blame Comixology, they put them first, so I put them first.
Yeah. Well,
or because they're more notable names.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, shockingly, this is not in continuity at all.
Get out!
But it starts with Booster in the future, and he's broke, and him and Skeets are, Skeets is trying to talk him out of going on this date with this girl, but Booster's like, oh no, we can go. And while they're on this date, and the girl's clearly bored, this dinosaur looking like alien attacks, and basically says he's here to bring a reckoning on Earth for what they did in the past. So Booster jumps in his time sphere to go see what had happened. And because of the rush, he ends up in the Flintstones era and accidentally kills the same type of alien lizard, but who was there to preach peace. And because Booster going back ends up causing the chaos that happens, in the future.
Sounds like a typical Booster Gold comic.
Yeah, right? So they get stuck there, and that's how they end up with the Simpsons, the Flintstones. Where the Simpsons come from? Wow. Brain fart. Great time. But they end up with the Flintstones, and it's mainly just Fred and Barney, and it ends up with some comedy because there's dinosaurs and Booster being Booster, trying to get his way out of it. He tries to reach out to the time stream multiple times to get some help, and every time he does, something bad is happening because the time traveler he's reached out to is at this notable moment in history. And like this one time traveler ends up getting eaten by a dinosaur because it gets distracted by Booster. And another one's there at some type of riot and he gets hurt. So Booster ends up talking to Alfred in 1966. So you see like kind of some Batman 66 stuff. And he tells Alfred, can you loan me some money? Put it in this bank account. I only need like $5 because, he's broke in the future. So he uses his basically one lifeline to make himself rich when he gets back home.
Inflation.
Right, right, exactly. And so they end up kind of fixing the time sphere, but not before the rest of the aliens get there that are preaching peace. And they want, they see this dead leader. But Booster's like, hold on, I have a plan. And because he's cut in half, he starts using him like a puppet to tell him that everything's okay. And it's really morbid, but it's also so Booster. Like him trying to do this and it falls off and you see his hand shaped like a puppet. Still,
and this is where it feels straight out of the Flintstones. Exactly.
And they end up going to the future, and Fred and Barney are still there. And they don't know what to make of it all. And Skeets ends up time traveling, or another one of the time travelers ends up bringing the dead alien prophet to the future to tell the other aliens that what they're doing is wrong. And it's this whole big thing, and they end up sending the Flintstones back, and Fred's with Wilma. He's like, you won't believe the day that I had. Talking with trying to help Booster fix the time sphere and all. So Booster goes and checks his bank account, and at the end it turns out he has like $1 billion, which in the future isn't that much, but it's enough that he can go out on this date and he gets a do-over.
All that interest over however many thousands of years.
Yeah.
This sounds like far more of a Booster Gold issue than a Flintstones.
Yes. It was. The Flintstones are almost background characters. I mean, you see Barney with his junkyard, and it made me want to go and check out the Flintstones ongoing because it's definitely not, Hanna-Barbera's Flintstones. There's more edgy. So the lizard alien is preaching peace, but also the ability to have erections longer than 4 hours and not calling a doctor. And
Wait,
so
what?
the cavemen are Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's not gloss over that.
No.
What?
Yeah. And so when Booster shows up and kills them, the cavemen are all kind of like, oh no, now we're gonna have to call a doctor again. So there's some funny jokes and jabs that go throughout, but it's definitely more of a Booster story than a Flintstone story.
Which I think.
But it did, I think.
I think that probably suited Matt more than anything. It's like, this is more of a Booster Gold story. Oh, that'll do me just nicely.
I think that if the goal was to get people to check out the Hanna-Barbera line, I think that does its job, because now I want to go pick up the first trade of Flintstones. Because I've heard good things. I just don't have really the room in my poll to check it out.
I like Flintstones as a kid. I don't think I like it enough to want to read a comic about it. Whereas Power Rangers, I'm like, Power Rangers comic.
I think that's what interests me about what they're doing with the Hanna-Barbera line. It's not exactly what you saw as a kid. It is edgy. I mean, sometimes it works. Sometimes, and obviously, the Scooby-Doo one didn't work so much. But maybe Flintstones does.
Maybe.
And so the backup is that Jetsons that Connor and Palmiotti did, and it's kind of in the vein of Flintstones, in that it's familiar, but it's not quite the same, and it deals with George's mom, who's dying, is talking with Judy, and because they're the closest, and there's like this whole end of life thing. It's almost like she's choosing like doctor-assisted suicide, but she's not telling the rest of the family, just Judy. And they're trying to locate her, the rest of the Jetsons, when they finally turn her tracker on, which they didn't want to do because they don't want to deal with an angry teenager. Because, thousands of years in the future, who does still want to deal with an angry teenager? They end up finding that Grandma has become Rosie, the robot maid. So that's how they're setting that up. But it's kind of a sweet and dark story of an old woman trying to have one last moment with her granddaughter, before she goes through this. So, again, not quite Hanna-Barbera as I remember it, but still good enough that I might check that out. I hate when DC does this type of stuff where there's so much I want to read, I just don't have time and space for it.
I think I might have seen half an episode of Jetsons once.
I love Jetsons.
Really?
When I was like 7, so yeah, I have no... Like, you were saying names there, I'm like, I have no idea who these people are.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm with you, Matt.
Yeah, it was... I actually, as a kid, preferred Jetsons to Flintstones just because of the future and flying cars. And
I could see that. That said, I prefer the future, but I do like dinosaurs, so...
As do I.
Yeah.
So
what's not to love about dinosaurs?
There's that fan theory that actually Jetsons is a prequel to Flintstones because of the talking animals and the dinosaurs, and once they can reclaim Earth and get back on the land, they restart kind of being primitive. So they've cloned dinosaurs, but they're living in rock houses, and they've forgotten about all that. So they're a people with amnesia. That's why they're the modern Stone Age family. So, stuff you find on the internet.
Yeah, I do like Connor and Palmiotti a lot as well, though. So if they do have a Jetsons ongoing from them, I'd probably check that out.
Cool. There you go. Well, that wraps up the books. That is record time. We're so used to going like 2 hours at least on these episodes. But don't worry, we're not going to rush off just yet. We'll stay around and we'll chat for a bit. These 5th weeks give us a chance to just kind of relax and talk nonsense and maybe discuss other things that are going on that are related to DC, but not necessarily exclusive to. So let's talk about the movie news that dropped this week.
Because there's always movie news that drops every week now.
There is, but this one is easily the most interesting movie news that's dropped from DC in well, ever maybe.
Well, since the announcement, Affleck is Batman, I think.
Sure, okay, yeah.
That was the last time there was this much buzz surrounding one of their projects.
It's also the news that made me realize just how cynical I've become.
Yeah, you've become...
Yeah, I know. I wanted to choke you. I did.
That's fair.
Matt, welcome to my like Wednesdays through Saturday.
I gotcha.
So yeah, well, this is the thing, right? So just to set up why this story even means anything, I think to us, I just want to point out that we have been really cynical when it comes to DC movie news, mostly because Batman v Superman for us was a train wreck, an unmitigated disaster. Suicide Squad was also a disaster. In some cases in a different way, in some cases the same way, but either way,
It's much.
You
I
say
think
it
it's
was a
less of a
mitigated-
disaster.
okay, less.
Mitigated disaster.
I said the first one was an unmitigated disaster. This one's just
I know. So would it be a mitigated disaster?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I'm dropping the prefix there, Pete.
sure. I've never heard anyone say something is mitigated before, but yeah, it's mitigated
Well,
disaster.
I'm gonna find out what it means. So we'll see if you can use it.
Right, Matt's doing research, looking up a dictionary. So we've been really cynical, and we've been really obviously some of the Wonder Woman trailers looked okay, but some of the trailers for the other movies looked okay as well, and they ended up sucking. Justice League trailer did not like. In fact, that happened in the last week and a half, and I
Still haven't seen that.
because we mentioned it last week, but we hadn't watched it yet. I've watched it since. Their idea of lightening the tone up is giving Batman some one-liners. It still looks dark, grubby, and ugly.
And they have to use the most spot on song where they use "Come Together."
Mm-hmm. And call me crazy, I don't feel like rock music or pop music or anything like that is suitable for a Justice League trailer. For me, you want something to feel a bit more orchestral, you want it to feel more sweeping. But again, maybe that's just personal taste. Regardless, the point is...
You don't want an awesome guitar riff for your Amazonian
Do you know
heroine?
what,
No.
That's the annoying thing is, I could see, like rock guitars for Justice League in general, because it's the action, it's the hype.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see it. Not saying I want it, but I could see it. It just doesn't work for Wonder Woman, though, does it?
No.
It's dreadful.
But yeah, so the point I'm making, though, is that everything they seem to announce, that they've put us in such a cynical place because we do not like what they've done to Batman and Superman. We don't like what they've done to these characters. We don't like that they've miscast Lex Luthor. They seem to have miscast the Flash. I like him as an actor, but as for the Flash, I'm not feeling him, and so on. And to the point where we've talked about some of the other movie news that we've had from them in the recent months, where they've announced, maybe Matt Reeves is doing a Batman movie, maybe Matthew Vaughn's doing the next Superman, and I'm like, I really like these directors, but all I'm feeling is, oh no, they're wasting their time in this universe. I'd love them to do these movies, like, outside of this universe.
Yeah, but Matthew Vaughn on Superman, look what he did for X-Men. So
sure.
If you give him the creative control, and I think that's where a lot of our problems are coming from, is if the same leadership is in place that's responsible for Batman vs Superman
it's
and
interesting
Justice League.
It's interesting you compare it to his X-Men, because actually thinking about it, his X-Men movie came right after. The one before his X-Men movie was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then he made what I would consider... Well, I mean, Logan makes it work, but in terms of a team-based X-Men movie, I think it's the best one. First class.
Yeah.
But you hit the nail on the head of if they give him the creative control, and that's exactly where I just don't believe that they will do that.
Well, let's talk about the new... So I was cynical through all of this. I love those directors, and I was still cynical. I was still like, nah, I'm still not giving them hope. I'm not giving them a slither. I don't care. I'm not getting my hope. So until you earn my faith, until you give me something that I do not dislike or hate, I'm not giving you a damn thing. This week, and it's not finalised, apparently he's just close to making a deal, but this week it came out that Joss Whedon is nearing a deal to write, direct and produce a Batgirl movie. So just, before we even talk about Joss Whedon, the fact that we're possibly getting a Batgirl movie is kind of insane. Like... Whoa, Matt, Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Zack Snyder realised he was about to talk shit about the DC movies and he hacked in. Oh, dear.
Damn, Connor. Now Connor's dying.
Yes.
Just the viewers, not the listeners, but the viewers especially, look at Peter's face when he's talking about Joss Whedon and Batgirl. He can't help it. It's his favorite, one of his favorite characters with his favorite director. Well, one of.
I'd say more favourite writer than director, but yeah. The point is,
creative.
I'm big fan of Buffy, big fan of Angel, big fan of Firefly. Love the first Avengers, still my favourite Marvel movie. And he's kind of perfect for this job. He just is. And it's impossible. As much as I'm still mostly cynical, I'm still expecting the worst with most of this stuff. Don't get me wrong. If there was one thing they could do to make me believe in hope again, to make me believe that there's a chance, that there's just one chance that this might not all be bad, this was it. And here's the thing that really came to mind, because just going on what I've said just there before about Matt Reeves and Matthew Vaughn, something occurred to me. Okay, so if they get those, they've got those two. I think one of them's confirmed at least so far, and we're possibly getting Whedon for this. Part of me started thinking, it's almost starting to feel like they're kind of preparing for the post-Snyder era, because it was too late to really change Justice League.
Yep.
Right? Because we said that when Johns came in, is like, oh, right, Johns is coming in, he's going to start supervising the movies, and maybe we'll see an effect of this. And I'm pretty sure that the time said, well, yeah, but they've already at least started shooting Justice League at this point. The effect can't be felt until later.
And that's when they gave him one movie instead of two, as well.
Yeah, that's when they were just Zack Snyder's Justice League did one movie. Yeah. So I don't want to get too hopeful, but I do. I'm looking at it now and I'm going, they've got good creative people behind some of these movies now. If they give these people control, if Matt Reeves, Matthew Vaughn, and Joss Whedon get any kind of control over their movies, and given that Joss Whedon was going to do a Wonder Woman movie and ended up having to leave because of creative differences, for him to consider coming back, slither of hope. That's all I'm saying. Slither of hope.
I can't see him with his relationship with Marvel, and they ended things on good terms. That he was just tired of being part of the machine. Here he gets to just kickstart the machine. And, you don't see too often when someone gets a producer. He gets writing, directing, and producing.
And he gets to do it with one character, one core character, rather than a team.
Yeah.
So less pressure in that sense.
And that's, to me, much more of his style. I mean, you look all the way back to the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, and that's got his fingerprints all over it, right? Did he direct that, Pete?
Oh, no, he disowned it. He didn't like what they did with it.
No, but I'm talking the tone of it and whatnot.
Oh yeah, he wrote it, but he didn't direct it.
Okay.
He wasn't happy with the director. He didn't think the director got it, and I think that's clear when you watch it and then you watch the show. It's
yeah. I'm just saying, even something as far back as that, he's a very distinct voice, and I feel you don't look over at what the competition's doing and then look at what you're doing and go, let's not do that at all.
And here's the thing: there is no way, shape, and form this thing can have the tone of what the movies we've had so far. Of this universe, it's just impossible. It's going to sound like a Joss Whedon movie. It has to.
Yep.
It's impossible for it not to, unless they have someone come in, unless they kick him off and rewrite his script.
And that's the point. Why are you going to Joss Whedon? That's what. And I understand Connor wanting to be cynical about it because
I'm broken, frankly, because this should I should be going, oh yeah, hope, excitement, but I just can't. I haven't got it in me.
Yeah, I've been kicked in the ribs by DC too many times to count over the course of the years. So I get it.
I think that they've thrown so many good director names at me now that they're trying to get that I'm like, at least from a personnel standpoint, they're trying. Post Justice League, they seem to be trying in that regard. They can't lock down a Flash director, but hey, we'll see.
But then again, if they're going to rewrite everything, and if you end Justice League with red skies, you can have a fresh reboot. I mean, that's what DC Comics have always been about.
I mean,
at least since '85.
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors of the plot being everything goes bad, then the Flash goes back in time to the scene we saw in Batman v Superman. And as much as I didn't like a lot of what we read in that leaked plot, at least if he's doing timey-wimey stuff, you could argue that when he comes back to the future, that
it's changed.
Everything's back to what it should be. But from our point of view, great.
Metropolis is this thriving city because Superman didn't have a knockout drag-out with Zod, and they'd have to rebuild everything.
How great would it be if the last 5 minutes is great because it's went to what it should be, and at the end it comes up directed by Zack Snyder, and then it says after that, last 5 minutes directed by pick George Miller, whoever, pick your director.
But and this is the thing, until they show me that there's change, and they're throwing director names around, and that's all well and good. Until I see some results, I have nothing.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still cynical, and I get your cynicism, I really do. But I at least
how am I the most hopeful out of this?
Because
I see Whedon them even trying to court Whedon and giving him what he wants is a sign that there's been a cultural change somewhere in the top.
But of course, we're not going to feel what the changes behind the scenes for at least a couple of years. Like we say, they couldn't change it in time for Justice League. That was already moving.
Well, same with Aquaman, you would think too.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Because Juan's pretty far in development.
Shooting starts this week, I think.
Yeah. But
although that said, it's not that hard to do rewrites on the day of.
No, I know there was a thing this week where Momoa said he just landed in, I think it was Australia, to do the shooting for Aquaman.
Plus, Aquaman can still be affected by this though, because because this whole thing with John's, assuming that was the time when it started to change, is when they took away Snyder's second Justice League movie. You'd hope that like that was early enough that they got to the Aquaman script. And maybe, and as much as I was kind of cynical when they announced, oh, we're rewriting Flash from page one again, and they're rewriting Batman from page one again, at least maybe the reason for that is good. Maybe the reason is, oh, you know what, we can't rush these anymore. We're seeing what we're doing. This is a problem. We have to give it the time it needs.
It was almost as if they were just jump-starting as much as they could so we wouldn't notice. You know? Like, just keep rolling them out, and people will just keep watching them because it's what we're giving them. And then finally, you know, Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad kind of underperformed here in the States. I mean, I know they did okay worldwide, but it was almost a wake-up call.
Sure, they underperformed. Like, the first movie ever with Batman and Superman in the same screen, plus Wonder Woman, like, that should have been an easy billion. That should have been making Avengers money if it was a good movie. And it scraped to, what, 900 million something? Like,
it had a great opening weekend, and then crashed the second.
Yeah.
Well, because there wasn't very many repeat. Like, I saw the first Avengers 3 times in a weekend.
Yeah. It broke the record for biggest drop to second weekend, I'm pretty sure, at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
And do you know what? I'm very, very cynical here, and I feel broken. And like you said, but I'd be so happy to be wrong. I mean, if they come out and they prove me wrong, I will come out hands up, go, yeah, I was wrong, and that's fine. I've never wanted to be wrong more. I still at this point, I don't think I am, unfortunately.
It's just at this point, it's a case of wait and see. But I'll say this news of Joss Whedon possibly doing a Batgirl movie is the first time I have felt remotely positive.
Yeah.
In like 2 years.
It's been a long while.
A year and a half or whatever.
And if there's any character that deserves Joss Whedon, it is Barbara Gordon. Like, that is a Whedon-esque character through and through.
Yeah.
So, and I hope they can fix things, because I know Alden, one of our friends, was talking about J.K. Simmons is Gordon. And I would love Simmons in a Whedon movie, just to hear that dialogue coming from him. Because I mean, he was the best part of Terminator Genesis.
He was, absolutely.
And so imagine what he would do with a good story, Yeah. And some levity.
And by the way, if we're doing any fan casting, Jane Levi is my number one pick. Thank you, and please.
Yeah. She's good. She's good in everything I've seen her in. So that's
she's good,
things, so.
And she's naturally ginger, which another plus
helps.
in the corner. So yeah.
I really do fan casting. I just because I just get my hopes up, and it never works out.
The obvious one's Emma Stone. I know people are going to say Emma Stone.
That's the one that's going around.
Left and right.
I don't know. I'm not. I love Emma Stone, but I just don't know.
Yeah, she's too Emma Stone. I'm just going to see Emma Stone when she's Batgirl.
Me too. Same. I've seen Anna Kendrick thrown around, and I feel the same way. As she'd be Anna Kendrick. You know? And
I could see
much
her
as I want to see
like,
Anna Kendrick in a Batgirl costume.
I feel like she'd do a better like someone like Stephanie than Babs.
Yeah. I mean that's something they could potentially do. Like if I don't know what angle Whedon is going at. If he's going to do just a straight Batgirl movie with like Babs, like, or you could do like a multiple timelines thing where you also get like a later Batgirl and it cuts between them. And
well, what we heard at the minute was it was kind of based on Simone's run, right? The start of the New 52.
Kind of. I think that's super like thin though. In terms
I do as well.
I think she was Batgirl for a short time, has the paralysis, and then has the surgery, fixes it, and returns to being Batgirl.
I think that's all it is as well. I think it's just this is a post Oracle and her becoming Batgirl again.
I will be shocked if they use like a villain from that run. I will be shocked.
Oh yeah, no. I don't think they will. I just having her be Oracle, even if it's just for 2-3 years, and if she could cultivate relationships with people, and we could get a cameo from Dinah Lance.
Yeah, or even the new Batgirls. Like if you want to give give her like the underlings, give her Cassie and Steph as like trainees.
Don't make it Batgirl, make it Batgirls.
Yeah, that's Whedon also. Like he works well with teams, and I just it's ridiculous.
So
Just the thought that got thrown out
Potential.
there. I thought it was an early April Fool's.
I'm still
You know-
not convinced it's not. Part of me is like, someone jumped the gun with posting that.
let's not forget as well that there was news a little bit ago. It's less set in stone in this one, but there was talk of them doing a Nightwing movie, and I'm just like, as much as I'm upset that it's in this universe with this bastardized Batman and Superman that we've got so far, part of me is kind of like we're getting like family character movies now. Like, this is kind of
but
cool.
these are far enough out that they
Yeah.
can fix it, and that's just probably me being the hopeless optimist that I can tend to be.
Hey,
You know,
Superman, man,
I know.
hope.
I know. So there's still time to fix it, and that's always what gets me with these DC movies is, well, they could fix it. It might not be, burning my eyeballs with acid.
I don't think it'll be this year, Matt. I think we have to accept that Justice
Yeah.
League is going to be a train wreck.
Me and Connor joke in our chat that we're telling you we're going to go see it, and we're just not going to, and then make stuff up on the spot. Because how far off could we be given what we've had? But I'm not excited to go first day on these anymore.
There was also that rumor of how long it was this week.
Oh god, 2 hours 50 minutes. Which, don't get me wrong, if it was a good Justice League movie directed by someone who was competent, I would be excited for a 3-hour movie.
And that was supposedly debunked straight after.
Okay.
You know.
It's also too early. Like, I feel like the runtime wouldn't be locked in yet.
I agree.
A lot of
they might have a
slow-mo.
rough idea, but especially they haven't got an edit of it yet.
Yeah.
Not to that extent.
They'll have rough cuts, but because they finished shooting that a while ago, so they'll have rough cuts But I mean, just think about how much gets cut out of some movies, either for good reasons or bad reasons, and you end up with much shorter things. So,
But all I can think is, oh my god, I'm gonna have to sit through nearly 3 hours of that shit, and that is not a feeling I should have about Justice League.
Yeah,
what on earth is going on?
and let's be honest, it's the sort of thing where we're going to see it no matter what, because we're going to have to talk about it. And actually, here's a question for the audio listeners of the show. Tweet at us and let us know if you want, because obviously we do the movie reviews at 1.21 Gigawatts, which is a show we do on YouTube. If you would like the audio versions made of the DC movies and put on the audio feed with this podcast, that can be done if you would like to listen to it as well, because it is kind of a companion thing almost to this. It's easy enough to do, so if you want that added to the feed, and obviously you can easily skip it if you don't care, if you don't want to hear us complain about the movies, you can easily skip it, but because that will exist. There was a 2-hour Batman v Superman discussion where we tore it to shreds.
Oh my god!
On
And even
YouTubes.
before that, there was a good a half-hour one of when we had the midnight one, just an angry reaction.
Oh, that's right, yeah, there was a good like 30-40 minutes of us just like being angry, and then there was the proper 2-hour like in-depth discussion. Oh, we were super pissed about that. Oh man. Okay. Let's get away from the movies, right?
Oh, finally.
We got some various questions, and I want to maybe tackle one of them here on this episode because we've got a bit of time. Let's do this. Sent in a few. This is from Mitchell Godfrey, who's one of our regular viewers, and he sent us some stuff. This was mainly for the 52nd episode, but I thought I'll steal one for this, and we can have a little discussion. So this is back to the comics. This is back to the current books. Now he specifies 5. I don't think we'll do 5 each. That seems like a little bit overkill. I think we'd struggle to think of ones for 5 each. But so what he wants to know is for books that we've dropped in Rebirth, right? What could bring us back? What like new creative teams could bring us back, or possibly storylines? I think with that one he was specifically thinking about, say, Aquaman, where we don't dislike Dan Abnett. It was just what he was doing in Aquaman wasn't particularly interesting after a few issues. So yeah, we're gonna do this and see what we come up with. Connor's got his thinking face on.
I think for Aquaman specifically, it's at a point now where there's too much of it for me to care about Abnett in general. Like, no matter what the story arc was, it'd probably have to be a different writer at this point for me to want to jump back in.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know who. I mean, again, it's kind of how I just said. I don't really fan cast that much. I don't really fan cast writers to certain series that much.
Right?
It's just
really
see who they
liked-
give me, and then I'm willing to try it most of the time.
Yeah. I like the mystical aspect that Jeff Parker brought to it
I like Jeff Parker stuff. Yeah.
before Rebirth, and Abnett took it over. Well, Abnett took it over even before, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 issues, I think, before the.
Yeah, but didn't we have some Bond stuff in there as well?
Yeah, that was. It felt like he wanted to do Cthulhu but couldn't. because there was stuff seeded out and it just fell apart. And
Yeah.
he even talked about how about halfway through his run, he was just kind of overwriting the
Did you see
characters.
his April Fool's tweet actually?
No, what was it?
He said, "Oh, big news, guys! I'm returning to Aquaman, and the hook hand is back."
That's
dear.
great.
I've got some unfinished business with the series.
So I'd like Parker to return because Parker didn't have that long a run, and I liked what he was doing. So Parker would be cool.
I feel like Parker's one of those losses of New 52 editorial where things happened here and there, but then it got to Rebirth and nothing, and it feels like somewhere along the line something with the editorial kind of lost him.
It feels like he's in a holding pattern because now he's writing Future Quest for the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Which is right up his alley.
Do you know, I'm really hoping that him and Pac, because him and Pac were doing stuff in New 52, and we liked what they were doing. I'm really hoping that they are like being held in reserve, as you say, for like an announcement, like, oh, the JSA book will be Jeff Parker or something like that, where they've got plans for them. It's just they've held them off because of that.
I think ultimately they're kind of like a Rooker or a Wade situation where something happened with the higher ups and they've kind of left Wade's for now. Maybe they can be tempted back because obviously. We've seen they managed it with Rooker for Rebirth, and that was obviously.
I don't know if that's true for Parker, because Parker, as you say, is doing one of the.
Yeah,
he is.
Or
I
even
feel like that's
Pac.
probably a different department that's dealing with the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah, but even with Pac, he knew it was ending, and he's doing a lot of his own creator-owned stuff right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's back at Marvel though, isn't he? Doing stuff.
I think he's doing Hulk, but that's shows his character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that said, Cedric's going to start doing art on Aquaman starting in June, I think, and that is tempting me to at least have another glance at it because his art's really good. So,
a different title. I'd love to pick up Justice League again if he'd take Brian Hitch and his weird stories off and give us a team
Almost
up
anyone
Justice
else.
League. Well, no, just like
who could be put on Justice League that make me thinking anyone else?
yeah.
Anyone?
I mean, some of the best issues of it, and granted I only read the first 6 and then the Justice League Suicide Squad, but like Seeley, I think Seeley telling these kind of one-shot adventures of the team or even like different random team-ups of the team. So you could get a Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman story and they're teaming up, and then you can do the Green Lanterns and Superman. In another story.
So it kind of becomes Brave and the Bold.
Kind of, or you just do a big story that has all of them, instead of these like weird blockbuster trying to do big, huge things and throwing Cold Snap in there.
It's trying to emulate Hickman, isn't it?
Yeah, just have fun with it. Like, it doesn't have to be the flagship that John's had it. Like, most of the years I've been reading comics, Justice League wasn't the flagship.
Yeah.
How's about this one? How about All-Star Batman, right? I like the new
I'm
writer.
happy with that as it is.
You are, but
I'm not.
But we're not, so... but All-Star Batman, I don't need a new writer. I just need Scott Snyder to remember how he used to write. Like, if he remembers what he was doing during, like, Black Mirror, I would be so onto that book again. I'd be all over it. All over it. That's all it would take. I don't need a specific story. I just need him to write like he used to.
I mean, I'm happy with it as it is, so I have no complaints on that book, unfortunately.
Well, tough.
Trying to think what else I've dropped.
You've dropped a few things. This should be easier for you than it is for us.
It should. I'm trying to think which ones would make a big deal for me to come back to.
I think most of the ones I've dropped were characters that I'm not super. And I mean, I guess the biggest one is probably Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, probably the biggest one. Where I actually want to read those characters. Like, I care about those to a good extent.
Just not from Venditti.
Just not from Venditti. I think for. I hate to keep throwing out Jeff Parker, but I feel like he'd also work really well on that.
Yeah. I do feel like you should give that another shot, get past the actual, just the Hal nonsense of it, because Hal is by far the worst character that Venditti writes.
Send me a Green Lantern Corps book.
Yeah, that's
all.
When that book does the Green Lantern Corps stuff, it's by far at its best. It's a legitimately good book. It's just when it does the Hal stuff that it suffers, which is just weird when that's half the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for something like Cyborg, though, who I'm not inherently super interested in, I think for that it has to be someone who I really like, where I'm like, I'm just going to read it because I like that writer. Like that's why I'm trying it at that point.
Yeah.
No, admittedly, we're DC fans, so I probably, as soon as they put a new team on a book, I'm probably going to try it. We're probably all going to do that for the most part. But if they put someone great on a book like that, where I'd be like, oh man, especially if they get like a big grab, like, so, I mean, there's no hope of Wade coming back, and I'd rather Wade be doing something like Superman or
Yeah.
something
You and
else.
me both.
But at least Superman's in good hands. But I say like, oh, Wade's going to do something. I was like, well, I'm going to read that because it's Wade. Like, I'm going to try reading that. So, but I don't think. Cause I think a lot of other stuff I've dropped has been stuff that I'm not particularly needing a Harley Quinn book. So
We're Suicide
And
Squad.
that book's perfect for what it is already. No, I mean, it's not for everyone, admittedly, but for what it's trying to do, it does it very well.
yeah. I'm trying to think of other ones I've dropped.
I dropped Birds of Prey. I don't know if I would come back. I'm getting Batgirl, so I'm okay with that. And I get Canary in Green Arrow.
Yeah, it's only really Huntress that you're missing out on.
Yeah, and I'm okay.
Again, it's the sort of thing though. If the right writer does come along, you would try it again. Like,
Oh, yeah.
of course you would.
But at the same time, you don't feel like I need that to. I don't. Whereas some of them, it's like I want the writer to change immediately
I
so I
miss-
can read it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I miss reading about Hal Jordan. I like him as a character a lot. I didn't like what Venditti was doing with him, so why am I going to keep going Rebirth when I can just go and read, Green Lanterns and experience these other new, and it's scratching that itch.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of the other stuff I've dropped, and I can't think of really anything.
Yeah, there's nothing else that I'm dying for to be good. Like I think it's been kind of lucky in the sense that most of the stuff I want to be good is good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm in a really kind of happy place with that. Obviously, there's other books that we want to appear, and hopefully they're good as well. Like we want JSA, we want Shazam, we want whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think my biggest disappointment of things that I wanted to be really good that I haven't enjoyed is probably JLA. But I don't know what I can do to fix that because I like Orlando for the most part. It's just whatever it is on that book, it's just not working for me.
Yeah, that's true. But again, is that something you'd maybe try again if like say second arc comes along and we say, oh, by the way, it's changed a lot, Connor. It's doing...
Yeah, if I hear it's like infinitely better, then yeah, I might give it another try. And this is the thing, I don't want to say, oh, it'd take a different writer for me because, like I said, I like
story.
Orlando. That should be
Yeah.
enough that I'd want to read it anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if it is just much better, then maybe I'll try again.
Yeah. It's a tough question because, like I say, but it's tough for a good reason. It's tough because most of the books we want to like, we do like because we have the right people on them. There's no like great shame. I guess maybe an All-Star Batman, but I don't really need a third Batman book. Like I'm fine with Batman and Detective. Like if All-Star Batman just goes away, it's like, well, I'm getting a Batman book every week. I'm good,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, but another part of this question was it could include characters you'd like to see pulled into the larger Rebirth universe story.
Zatanna. Straight in there. No, my answer for that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So which book? Assuming she's not getting her own book, which book would?
Okay, as soon as not, I think it would be interesting to actually throw that in, like the actual wherever the Rebirth story takes place. When they're going against Manhattan and all that. Pull in the magic side of things. Say, well, maybe we need to fight this on multiple fronts and try different things and bring in someone like Zatanna and Constantine into that.
I also don't think it'd be a terrible idea to say add her to the Birds of Prey.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
I want her and Barbara.
That would probably be something that would make me try that book again. Actually,
I'm just thinking because obviously Canary's got a stream, but other than that, they're pretty much hand to hand combat.
Grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that gives them someone a bit wackier that gives it a different dimension.
and you do have Zatanna and Dinah teaming up quite a bit in the past.
Yeah.
The Fishnet Squad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just like Barbara trying to figure out how the magic works, because she
Yeah,
doesn't
that'd
know
be-
how things work.
Oh, I just thought of a
Zatanna
good.
always just like It's magic.
I also have a good one. Something that will make me try Justice League again. I mean, admittedly, I'd rather it wasn't Hitchley. So obviously, I want a new writer. But also,
even if it was Hitch.
but even if it was a Hitch, I'd probably try at least to see it. And Connor, if it was JLA, it'd probably get Connor at least trying it again. And that's my main man, John Jones, Martian Manhunter, popping in.
Quit it with the main man when you're not talking about Lobo.
I know, it's really
I'll
frozen.
say main man as much as I want to say main man.
Oh, you bastard.
Bastich. But no, seriously, Martian Manhunter. Like, seriously, add him to a book, and I'll be like, oh, I kind of want to see how they're introducing him again.
See, I would agree,
Wildstorm.
except
Not
I didn't
Wildstorm.
really like. Did either of you read his ongoing that he had in the DCU thing?
No, I was kind of checked out with the books by the time DCU was
Right,
kind of.
it was fine, but I wasn't really feeling it, and it made me realize that I miss Martian Manhunter and I want him, but he's not enough that I will read a book just for him.
In the right frame, if you make it like a gritty noir
Yeah,
kind
like,
of
I don't
feel.
think it's fair to say that he can't hold his own book. He probably can again with the right writer. But
Well,
the
no,
right
like
team.
you say, he could, but it's not. The character alone isn't enough that if he's he's in JLA, he's in Justice League. That alone isn't enough for me to go. I need
You
to
add
read
him to
this.
the Justice League of America team, and I'm rejazzed in.
Yeah.
Wanting to read that story.
Admittedly, JLA is more interesting than Justice League, especially if Hitch is still writing Justice League. It's not as like, oh god, I need to read this. But if you add him into JLA, it's like, oh right, okay, because this one has more potential still. Like by far, like between the two, JLA has
I'm
the
just saying
potential.
the dynamics with them, like him and Lobo,
Yeah.
him and the Ray, him and Killer Frost. Like him and Killer Frost hit it off because they both hate fire. I mean, she needs it to live, but it's like a drug to her.
See, that'd be cool if
Kinda
any
cool.
of the JLA book had been about characters hitting it off.
Yeah, I know.
But
Well, that's what-
so again,
Yeah,
like
but-
you say, with a good writer in a story I was excited about, that would be something amazing.
Yeah, but we said that
it's
al-
not enough.
We've spoken about that already in JLA, Connor. We're talking about things that would reinvigorate the books. Like, I think it's a bit unfair to assume that it's never going to do that.
Well, no, it's not. But it's just that that news on its own is still not enough for me.
My God,
to-
he's been such a negative little Nancy tonight, isn't he?
Well, no, this is the
Yes.
same. Marshmallow, he just I like him. I want him around, but that
But-
ongoing book where I tried the ongoing book of his, and I realized, you know what, I don't need this. Made me realize
But
that the
Connor-
character is one
Connor,
that I don't need.
Yo, but he loved Doctor Strange Fate though.
Yeah.
I was making a Doctor Strange.
But Connor,
joke,
we're
'cause-
talking about like things that would make us hope, things that would hope that would make things better. Going back to the movies again, we were talking about things that are just a little bit hopeful, and he's just being super cynical.
Well, no, it was the way you said, "Oh, this would make you excited to try it again," and
Okay, maybe I came in a bit strong with my phrasing, but like,
yeah.
no, I have a bit of hope in you. God damn it!
I would love for them to do a Teen Titans / Titans crossover after the Lazarus contract,
Hmm.
and we get Young Justice. We get that lost generation from pre-Flashpoint that have all kind of disappeared.
All right.
You got your
Okay.
Connor Kents. You got, well, Tim's still around, but use him.
Okay.
Use that generation of Titans.
Did they
Bart
get?
Allen,
We've already got a Titans tower on both the east and west coast. Did they get a tower in another country?
Midwest.
Midwest. All right. I was gonna
It's
say
in Smallville.
Titans Tower, Canada, or Titans Tower.
Titans Tower, Kansas. Midpoint of the country.
All right.
Boom.
Okay.
But and you give us Wonder Girl in Cassie Sandsmark.
Yeah,
Like-
Cassie.
I know it seems redundant with you have Titans and Teen Titans, but that Young Justice, I love a lot of those characters.
I
I
feel-
came up reading that Teen Titans.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
You
a
know?
third one does seem like overkill, and I'm like, well, could you add those characters to one of the other teams, and then that feels like there's too many characters in either of
Yeah.
those teams. Yeah. You
I think
could-
ultimately you do just make it into a Young Justice book, don't you? And go, have this, and then
Because
ultimately
they're
you're
not
pleasing
Teen
everyone.
Titans. Yeah, and they're not the Titans, so what do? You just give them that name. That's who they were originally before John's merged the two teams.
But they would feel like the third Titans book though. Still, I think like they still feel like the
Yeah.
third branch
Yeah.
of that section of the universe.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And you can tell young adult kind of stories through there, where they don't have to be as kiddie.
Yeah, I think
as
that's it.
Teen
Obviously, because Teen Titans is they're just becoming teenagers, so
Right.
it's like, what can we do? Titans is we're adults now. Like this
Right.
is what we do, and looking back, Whereas Young Justice, you get that age, maybe like 18-ish, and you go, right, this is a coming of age. Now, we're too old to be the Teen Titans, but we're not
Right.
mature enough to be adults yet. Where are we? And you do that story with it.
I actually just thought of the first plot we could do with like,
Huh?
so surely they'll come out of an event or something where they'll all come back, right? Fine, and then the first plot is Damien shows up. He sees them forming as a team, and he shows up with like a lawsuit. He's like, if you call yourselves the Teen Titans, I'm going to
Yeah.
sue and beat you up.
And that's where Tim goes, yo, I had the Teen Titans before you were even born or grown in a lab. Pump the brakes. We're not going to do that. That's your thing. You know, just have him. And then that rivalry's restarted between
It's just the same
Tim
way.
and Damien.
The same way he went to like Dick and like Nightwing.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you want to be Batman? You're taking this from me," and he's like pissed about it. I can see him doing the same thing with like a potential other Teen Titan group.
Yeah. I like a lot of those characters, and they all kind of seem lost with, you know, with Impulse and Connor Kent, Superboy, and Cassie Sandsmark, you know, Wonder Girl. And I liked seeing Cassie pop up in that new talent showcase.
What?
You know?
Hey, what happens? Do you remember how in like Blackest Night? Spoilers for Blackest Night, I guess, if you've not read it. But remember in Blackest Night, you get that page where all the dead characters from like the recent few years all came back, and
Yeah.
it was that big like it was actually like a 4-page spread because it folded
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
it was like all the like Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, the Hawks, the Hawk and Dove, I think was there. There was a bunch of different characters, and they all came back. Well, what if we get like a page like that at like, the end of whatever the event is, either this year, next year, and it's all these Young Justice characters and whoever else is missing, kind of thing. It's like, hey, they're all
Right.
back,
It'd be cool.
and then we have to deal
That's
with
it.
it.
Fine by me.
Give us
Yeah,
new books.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Whereas it seems like the JSA we might get one by one because we have one on his way
Oh.
very soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
So got the Legion slowly popping in.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
That's the thing. Is like, I need those books, JSA and the Legion, but it feels like they're really building to them organically within the universe. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, I'm not happy that I have to wait because I want to read it
'Cause
now, but at
it's
least
in
you're giving me
there.
a reason to wait.
It's in there with the missing 10 years. Like
Yeah.
that's the prime time these characters came around.
To quote
Exactly.
every single bad movie where someone tries to put a conspiracy together, it's all connected.
It is.
I really hate that line in movies, by the way, not to go on a tangent, but whenever a character says that now I just roll my eyes because it feels so contrived and cliched.
Mhm.
Because
It is all connected.
And phrase it a different way. Go out your damn way and think of a more creative way of saying it.
Go on.
All these things are connected.
It's still the same line, basically.
It's not the same line. It's the exact same phrase every time. That's what annoys me about it. It's the exact same damn line. And every single one. It's all connected.
I got nothing. I
Yeah.
got nothing.
Alright, don't weigh in on this argument.
Only you have something to really be bothered about that.
No, I think most people would agree it's a cliched moment in most of these movies. Because it tends to pop up in bad ones. Because they don't... Like, because the writing's poorer or lazy or whatever you want to call it, it's like they take the stock moments from other things, and that's why
Yeah.
you get things like that pop up repeatedly. It tends to be in really shitty conspiracy movies or really bad horror movies where they're connecting why the ghost is in the house or something like that. And I watch a lot of bad horror movies, Screams After Midnight, so I am well aware of these
Yeah,
things.
you watch far too many.
Yeah. We had a bonus one this week actually because it's April Fool's. We had an April Fool's Day and put that up today, so that's a thing.
So a week of bonuses then, because we got a bonus for this.
We do have a bonus for this tomorrow because DC are streaming live. They're streaming at I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. They are streaming an announcement of their summer event. Scott Snyder's going to be there. Dan Didio I think is going to be there. I think Jim Lee's going to be there. There was a bunch of names listed. But I think they're also announcing a few other things along with it. They're going to live stream it. And so after they stream that, we're going to jump on and record a sort of little one-shot bonus episode just talking about what they're talking about. So we don't have to add it on to what will probably be a meteor week next week. And so it's not all news as well by the time we're talking about it. So... which should hopefully be all three of us, because it is a kind of a shoehorned in extra recording. That could change, but we're hoping that all three of us can make it for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, which I guess neatly leads us into wrapping up the show because we went down a rabbit hole. So I guess I'll tell you what's coming next week, because you like books, and books are back next week. So coming next week, we have Batman issue 20, Superman issue 20, Nightwing issue 18, Green Arrow 20, Green Lanterns 20, Justice League 18, which I still have listed there, even though none of us are covering it, Deathstroke 16, The Fall and Rise of Captain Atom issue 4, which Connor will be discussing, and also coming out next week.
I was going to say, is Matt not still reading that?
Oh, are you?
Sorry, Nick.
Well, because remember he didn't want to, and then he drawn back in. My memory was confuddling at which point he left on. And then we're not covering these, but also out are Harley Quinn 17, Cyborg 11, and Aquaman 20. And yes, okay, you're doing the backup in Harley Quinn. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say Harley Quinn 17 has the backup by Paul Dini, so I will be checking that out and seeing if it's worth following along.
Yeah.
I might skim that while I'm at the shop.
No one would blame you.
No.
Yeah, no one. So yeah, that's next week. That'll be the first week of April. Even though technically it's April now, but you know what I mean. The first week of books in April. So yeah, I look forward to that. And I guess that wraps up the show. We have no favourites to do. I mean, obviously we could do a panel, I suppose, but picking favourite artist or cover or whatever feels a bit redundant when we only have 3 books.
Yeah.
Do we agree? Do we disagree?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you split Batgirl into 2, you've got 4 books.
Yeah.
Well, Matt has 4 books. I still have 3. You have 2. Oh, you get 3. Oh no, I've got 4.
Yeah.
Matt's got 5.
You've got 4. Matt's got 5.
Oh right, yes.
I was wondering how you were getting these numbers then for a second.
Math.
All right, I'll give you a favourite panel. It's in Titans when Aquaman, when they're talking about who imposters could be, not knowing each other properly well, he accuses Wally. He's like, a couple of months ago, none of us even knew who you were, even you, Flash. And it's the panel where Flash steps in front of Wally and says, "I do now," because he's sticking up for Wally. And so that's my pick. That's my pick for panel.
Mine will be.
Go ahead, Connor.
Mine's just the one I mentioned earlier in Titans with Wonder Woman with the shield under the Metallo saving. I think it was Nightwing and someone else. It looked great.
Yeah, cool.
Mine's from the first story in Batgirl, where Kara hugs her because she's so excited.
That's a fine choice.
Yep.
It's a fine choice. And
so good.
Babs is like, too tight.
Yep.
Because she's super strong.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we go. So you got a little bit of a favourite section. The rest of them feel kind of redundant, but there you go. That has been Comics from the Multiverse episode. I think this is 45.
No.
We're getting up there. Yeah, 45. Episode 45. So thank you very much for watching and listening. Let us know what you thought of this week's limited amount of books in the comments below. By all means, give us your thoughts on the Joss Whedon Batgirl movie, and if you do like the current DC movies, apologies for the concentrated hate, I guess.
Get used to it.
But at least we were kind of hopeful this week. Connor is the cynical one, or at least the most cynical of us.
Yeah.
I should phrase that that way. Anyway, so yeah, that's us. Thanks for watching and listening. Let us know, like and subscribe, wherever you are, 5-star rating, all that kind of thing. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates and just general updates about shows. Individual Twitters, I'm at Wibble89, Connor's at ConnorRyan94, Matt is at Matt of Steel 57. So if you want to see us rambling, get us on there. But there you go, that's it. So thanks very much for watching and listening. I've said that a few times. I always say it a few times. I come back to it. I'm thankful, I guess. I'm thankful. So once again, thank you. We'll see you next time. Keep reading books, and always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
Long live the Legion.